On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are breaking down and predicting what Jaylen Waddle's stats for this year will be, especially after we heard from Sean Payton and George Paton last week for the first time on Waddle. Plus, we can look at the other receivers. Fun show starting now. Yards, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, 80 catches. What are we talking about for Jaylen Waddle this year? We're going to break it down on the DNVR Broncos podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores. And we have the wide receiver expert to help us predict Waddle's stats. Bennie Fowler, Bryant, Koenigsberg, Henry Chisholm, and Dion behind the camera. And of course, I was talking about Arcade being the wide receiver expert.
Oh, yes. That's what I do.
Let's go. It's going to be a fun show today. And coming off a opening weekend for the Rockies in Denver. Coming off Easter. Hope you all had a happy Easter.
Nice.
And thank you. And the start.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. You like that one? And the start of Masters Week as Benny's rocking the Masters pullover.
Nuggets
QZ.
got a dub against
Oh, man.
San Antonio. I watched
Unreal
the second
dub.
half of that game. That was crazy.
One of the few times I regretted golfing.
Oh, wow.
You
I did-
regretted it?
I missed the Nuggets game and the Avs beating the Stars. They were both epic games. I was kind of like, damn.
Did you play well?
Played good enough. I got third place in a little tournament.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
well then, yeah, you're good.
you didn't miss anything
I
crazy.
mean, I kind of wish I was watching that. Nuggets game.
Are you someone that could go back and watch the rerun?
No, I watched like the 16-minute highlight package. That's like
that's
the
fair.
most
Yeah.
I'm probably willing to do.
I can't do non-live sports on reruns.
When what was that original TiVo? Was that the
so,
original
yeah.
DVR device? We got one of those when I was a kid, and like my dad just didn't get it, so he'd be like, "Let's go to dinner." I'm like, "The Broncos are playing right now. What are you talking about?" And he'd be like, "Just TiVo it. We'll watch it when we come back." I was like, "Nah, you enjoy dinner. I'll be here."
There was one time that I had to for my wife's family. They had some celebration. I had to miss a Broncos game, and so I left my phone at home. I think I TiVo'd it because it was back then, and just had no contact with the outside world. That was the only way I was able to do it.
That's crazy.
To just zero tip-offs.
I feel like it's only gotten harder
Yeah.
in the world.
100%.
You
yeah,
just have-
people are going to talk about the score wherever
Yeah.
you're at.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to be on in some form or fashion.
You open any social media,
Cannot
I'm
do
afraid
that,
the
yeah.
first thing that pops up is that.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I missed two games. There was a Chiefs game when I was little when Dante Hall went crazy.
Oh,
And I was
remember it
upset.
like it was yesterday.
I was at my grandparents' house, which loved them, but was an awful experience not seeing that game. And then one of the Rockies World Series games. My mom took me to the damn pumpkin patch.
Oh,
Because it had been scheduled this whole time, so we missed like the first 3 innings of that game. So
You've only missed 2 Colorado games. Like
I mean,
sports
those are the.
games?
I'm sure there were other ones that I missed, but those are the 2 I remember just being frustrated. Because I mean, I would have been 10 when the Rockies were in the World Series, but I still remember like that drive home, just knowing that the Rockies were on. Ugh.
Oh, you know the game that the game that I missed that I brought up? Benny was playing in it. It was 2015. It was the Cleveland Browns overtime game.
You didn't miss much in
Where,
that.
oh my gosh.
Besides the defense going crazy.
I thought I was going to get home and just like be able to breeze through a lot of it. And no, that was way too close of a game. You guys actually had no business really winning that,
oh, no.
which is crazy.
Shout out
against
to
the Cleveland
Akeem, though,
Browns.
for a pick 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really ugly. That was a really ugly game.
it was. I was working a Buffs basketball game when you guys were playing the Steelers in the playoffs, and
In 15?
Yep. And I had it up on my laptop, but it was like early, like illegal streaming days,
yeah.
or legal, you know. And it was just not working. And thankfully, someone who I didn't even really know was like, "Dude, you should go into the control room where they have like, you know, they're like doing the Jumbotron or whatever. He's like, they have a bunch of TVs on. They have it on in there. So I literally worked the game from inside the control room where they had like 2 big TVs on the game.
That is commitment. I love it. Since you brought up the Dallas Stars, on my way here, actually, I saw a car that had an Avs sticker and right next to it was a Dallas Stars sticker. And I thought, one, you can't do that, right? Like,
right.
You can't be both. And then what would the Broncos equivalent be?
It's close to it'd be in the division, so it's like
Chiefs
probably
or Raiders.
Raiders.
I think Chiefs because Chiefs are good now.
Yeah, so it's like Raiders more like Red Wings.
Right.
For different reasons, it's faded away, but it has faded away.
I also think that there's a chance that it was like husband like the Avs, wife like the Stars, and he was like, I want to put an Avs sticker. And she's like, if you do that, I want to put a star. And that would just be an immediate like, okay, no.
Right.
We're just not putting stickers.
No stickers.
That's very fair.
No, I have because Lexi's from Minnesota. So we have like the Marc-Andre Fleury signed picture right next to the Nathan McKinnon signed picture, which does feel a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
But she also has the Marc-Andre Fleury signed stick. So I feel like I need a Patrick Waugh signed stick, but they're like $1,000. And so that's going to take a while to justify.
I don't know why we're just on a heater of stories rolling into other stories, but when I was a kid, we went into this like frame shop and they had a framed Patrick Waugh game used stick and game used jersey. And like, I was too young to understand the cost of things, but like, I was like, I want this so bad. And my parents were like, no, obviously. But I was like, all right. If you give me this, like, you don't have to get me anything for my next 3 birthdays, Christmas. And I was trying to like negotiate. They're like, nope, sorry.
So you know how much it was?
It was definitely 4 digits, but I don't remember exactly how much.
Yeah, that would have been incredible. You're like the Cleveland Browns. You're like, okay, let's make it so we can trade 5 first-round draft picks at one time. I'll trade all of those in order to get this.
I was trying.
Yeah. Cheapest one's $1,400 now. Last summer they were $999.
Dang. Keeps going up.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe now that he got fired, he'll just start signing more stuff.
Fired probably does lower the value because like now like that team's fans don't want it.
Right. Plus like you're not getting like the same income. So when somebody reaches out and says like come do a signing, like, I got the free time, like I'll take the money.
Sure.
You never know.
So we heard from Sean Payton last week and George Payton for the first time with this Jaylen Waddle trade. We're going to break down and predict what stats we can expect from Jaylen Waddle. But before we do that, I want to get y'all's opinion on just exactly how you feel about Jaylen Waddle after hearing from Sean. Do you think he's going to have more impact specifically this year, less impact, kind of the same as what you thought? And just to kind of recap, last week Sean said the biggest single thing that he does well is he's extremely fast and he can stop fast. He can sink his hips in transition. And Benny, when I hear like the single biggest thing he can do is he's extremely fast and he can stop fast. Does that essentially mean like a great route runner?
Great route runner. I would say the best athletes in football or basketball stop. Great. The reason why Jokic is so good is obviously he's super skilled, but his ability to stop is why he's incredible. Luka Doncic, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, their ability to stop and elevate. Best route runners, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, JSN, Jaylen Waddle. The ability to stop and get in and out of breaks is what separates them. So I'm talking about, okay, a bigger guy like myself when running routes, 4 steps. Jaylen Waddle, 2 steps. That is extremely efficient for the offense. And Sean loves that. And when you think about like a Michael Thomas, not necessarily a great speed guy down the field, but his ability to get in and out of breaks is what makes him elite. It's what creates the separation. So when Sean talks about that, that's something that you love to hear. I love just the fact that how much due diligence that they've done throughout this entire offseason. That's one of the biggest takeaways that I took away from Sean Payton, George Payton. But yeah, the ability to stop, that's what, he automatically becomes the best at that in this room. And that's something that you need as a receiver. And it's one of the reasons why I tell this story, and I've told this story all the time. When I was in San Francisco, my last team, Brandon Ayuk ran a stem in seam route comeback. And he beat the defender off the line, killed him off the line. And he stopped in 2 steps. And I was like, yeah, my time's pretty much done here. Like, and you just know you're not going to play because you can't do things like that anymore. The ability, when receivers start to lose a little bit or they get a little bit older, it becomes harder to stop. And this guy and his ability to sink those hips, get in and out of breaks is, I think, something that Bo Nix hasn't had, going in, just for his first couple years in the league. I don't know if he had it at Auburn because you don't really see that in college a lot in terms of that ability. And I think the Broncos got it.
When people talk about though, like the soreness you deal with as a football player, I think they're just thinking of you taking hits. But like being that big, running as fast as you can, and then putting all of that force down into the ground, your like hips, your hip flexors, your knees, that had to be sore all the time too.
Oh yeah, knees for sure, your quads. Yes, the ability to stop. And when I think, just as we're talking through this right now, Demarius's ability to get in and out of breaks, bro, at 240 pounds, 6'4", was crazy to see. And I still have some of these clips on my phone when I was watching him as a rookie and would just tape some of these things and I would send them to my friends in group chats. Like, bro, look at this. Like my Michigan State receiver group chat, I would send it back to the fellas. Like, can you believe this? Like, look at this guy stop. But yeah, that's what Jaylen Waddle has. And we're gonna have a chance to see this a tremendous amount throughout this entire season as he gets the ball.
One last thing on DT. I'm not exaggerating when I say when he stopped on like a comeback, the ground shook.
Yeah, you could hear it.
Like, because he was putting so much force down into the ground to stop. It was ridiculous.
Who would have thought stopping would have been so sexy? Like, that is something route running's talked about all the time, but like this next layer of what makes a good route runner isn't talked about that much. Sometimes dropping the hips is talked about, like that next layer, but at least I never hear people go to the level of like talking about how they stop. And Benny, that kind of goes to what you were saying just about the amount of research that went in on this Waddle trade and why it took months for them to get it done.
When you guys watch basketball now, what makes Luka so good, obviously he's not vertically that incredible, but his ability to stop and separate and push away, what made James Harden so great. What makes Anthony Edwards so incredible? Ability to stop on the dime. And the best receivers in the league, they can do it.
Yeah, and that's why, to me, we all knew Jaylen Waddle was one of the most explosive players in the NFL when the Broncos traded for him, and that was so exciting. But I think now what's sinking in is just how he's not just going to be a big-time playmaker, he's going to be a possession receiver and a big-time playmaker, and that just makes you an all-around weapon. He's going to be used inside. He's going to be used outside. And Sean Payton said he can run every route on the field at any point on the field. And that just, to me, that's why like I'm even more pumped about this. And I was pretty pumped about it, but even more pumped about it after hearing from Sean and George last week and their vision for him.
Should I pull up my, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, should I pull up some practice clips and have Deion throw some practice clips? I got
Absolutely.
Emmanuel Sanders. I got Demarius in there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I got some Odell in there.
Yes.
Just people who are just like, this is something that I can't do. This is crazy.
Do you have practice clips of you?
Of course.
Yeah. Send them to Deion. Let's see these.
I don't necessarily want to put up the DBs I'm going against. I don't know if Akeem would like them because, I got him against Akeem and it's like.
Well, that's what was so good about those teams is like it wasn't just one side just dominating time and time again. I'm sure Akeem got the receivers occasionally as well.
Of course.
Did you save any of those?
You
save any of those?
What?
When
Akeem
Akeem
just
won?
Clamping
Absolutely
you.
not.
So Ryan, then on the next no lie zone, you got to bring up Akeem's wins on the practice field.
Guys like Akeem don't save things like that because they're too good.
They just do it all the time.
Yeah, I was an undrafted player going against people that I was like looking up to that I couldn't believe that I was playing against.
Yeah.
So I would save all my clips.
Yeah.
Akeem doesn't care to save a clip going against me or
In practice.
DT. He's an all
He's not like
pro.
texting Chris being like, look, dude, I locked up DT at practice.
I don't care about that.
That's very true. I save clips of us having a great time. And like when Ryan or Henry says like, wow, that was a good point. I save that.
Wow,
good.
To make
point.
sure. Yeah.
I mean,
thank
good
you.
idea. Good idea.
Let's save that right there, Deion. Man, this is really fun. When Benny does that, we can continue to dive in more on Jaylen Waddle, get some predictions. And do you guys think that Jaylen Waddle is a lock for 1,000 yards? Is that way too low of a bar? That is coming up next.
If you love the NFL Draft, then this is your edge. The Die Hard NFL Draft Guide is built and based off of thousands of hours of film study, being boots on the ground, Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, Combine, talking to scouts, talking to coaches, really getting a feel for where these players are best going to fit and project in the NFL. And we're talking hundreds of players in this class. All right, so what are you going to find in the guide? Well, you're going to find player comps, you're going to find strengths, weaknesses, physical tools, analytics, highlights, analysis from all across the space, everything you need to try and determine who are the best players for your team. You get access to the guide if you're a diehard, and you'll also get access to a couple of individual breakdowns I'm doing specifically for your team. All right, look, if you want surface level breakdowns, you can get them anywhere, but if you want independent thought, if you want thorough breakdowns on all of these prospects, become a diehard, get the guide. Or you can get access to the 2026 guide for just $26. Let's win draft season.
Shout out to our friends over at Xfinity. Xfinity is the best. The best part right now is that you're able to sign up and lock in the exact same price for the next 5 years. You don't have to worry about it fluctuating. There's no annual contract, no hidden fees, so you know exactly what you're going to pay for the next 5 years, and you're not locked into it. So if for some reason you're moving, whatever it may be, it's only there if you want it. But I don't know how you couldn't, because 5 years at the same price is a steal. It's the best Wi-Fi out there. They have intelligent Wi-Fi, which means it'll change how strong the signal is to each of the devices to maximize what each device needs. So if you're streaming or gaming or whatever, Xfinity has your back. They've got it all figured out, and you get the exact same price for the next 5 years. A lot could change in 5 years, so make sure that you sign up, take advantage, lock in your price, and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to the DNVR Broncos podcast, and just like that, we've got practice footage from some receivers absolutely eaten in practice. Benny, you wanna walk us through some of these?
Yeah, I didn't bring up any of mine, but I did bring up some of my favorite clips. One of my favorite clips of Emmanuel, and then two of DT when I talk about getting in and out of your breaks, and then also your ability to stop. D, I don't know. In and out of his break right here. That is what Jaylen Waddle will bring to this Denver Broncos offense. That ability to stop right there. Chris Harris obviously still had great coverage right there, but if you can stop, you know where you're going as a receiver, and that's what I'm talking about, and that's what Sean is talking about, his ability to stop.
And I mean, that whole route until the stop, Chris was just
right there,
covering him and smothering. And then, like you said, even he was still on him after, but that's all you need is those
There's
1
a
or 2
dagger
yards
concept
separations.
right there, and you see DT make the defender fall against the Chargers. But these are like the little things that in and out of breaks, ability to stop, and the fact that he was that big, just running routes like that was incredible.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Maybe the next one.
Boom.
Man.
So we got that one, and then I think there's one more. These are just some of my favorite ones that I just I'll watch occasionally from time to time. But DT against San Francisco, and he runs the same route against the 49ers right here. Little dagger concept. I don't know. Dion's going to pull it up, but you just see his ability to make the defender. He just turns the defender around right here. Bam.
Oh,
and then
my goodness.
his yards after catch. But this guy,
my goodness.
That's what Jaylen Waddle brings to this offense.
Yeah.
And that's what, quite frankly, the Broncos haven't had since he played here.
Well, and we talk about yards after the catch, and that's something that Jaylen Waddle is going to do. That's a prime example of how he does it through route running, because that guy was on him, and then when DT made the break, what was it, 6 or 7 yards?
Yeah.
And then he's just off.
And I think that's what you want to see as a Broncos fan that you haven't seen in a really long time, is the fact that, that was a pretty simple 12-yard in, but he took it 60 yards.
Right.
And I think that's what's exciting. And it just brings me back to the moments where I would save those clips. Like, we'd be watching film, or I'm watching film at home, and I'm like, bro, how is this happening? Like, what game am I playing?
Right.
But that's when you see those types of, that's why people like him go in the first round.
Right.
And that's why Jaylen Waddle's a first-round receiver, because of that ability, the ability to change the game. And the Broncos got that game changer now.
And if you mentioned it briefly, but the ultimate advantage of the offense is you know where you're going and the defense doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And the faster that you can change where you're going, the more separation you're going to get from the defender. And I think the perfect example was that Emmanuel clip. And I didn't even think like 2 steps was possible when you were talking about that. And seeing him do it there is just like, you cannot guard that.
Yeah.
And with Jaylen Waddle, you already are so worried about him going over the top, even more than you would be with Emmanuel Sanders. Like, it's impossible. There's nothing the defender can do if he stops. And he's just going to be open, and Bo Nix will have an unlimited amount of opportunity to target Jaylen Waddle because of that.
It's such a good point. And Lance Zierlein, coming out of the draft, when Jaylen Waddle was coming out of the draft a couple years ago, he said Jaylen Waddle is going to be one of the fastest receivers to ever play in the NFL. So to add to your point, Ryan, about you have to give him cushion on the back end, or else he's going to burn you if you don't have just a guaranteed safety help every single time. And so giving that cushion gives you that just extra when he stops. He's already going to get yards from separation there, and he's already going to have a cushion there. So, man, that's why he can, and that's why he is a guy. His rookie year, he had 104 catches. The next year, he had 1,300 yards. 1 year, he averaged 8 yards per catch. The next year, he averaged 18.1 yards per catch, which was the most in the NFL. The stats and then the film and the breakdown show that he truly is an all-around receiver.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. And so that's why, where do we put expectations? Like, what are predictions versus fair expectations? Benny, you're getting excited here. Where do you want to go? Predictions?
Yeah, predictions.
What do you think?
I mean, expectations-wise, I expect 1,000 yards minimum, bare minimum. Six touchdowns, bare minimum.
It's like 80 for 1,006.
Yeah, that's minimum. I expect that.
And I agree. If those numbers don't really come close, that is disappointing.
Yeah. If Bo and Davis are on the same page, which I expect them to be, Davis brings some more creativity, and Jaylen Waddle is on the field for 85, 90% of the snaps. 1,300 yards is my prediction. 1,300 yards, 95 catches, 8 touchdowns. That's what I'm predicting.
Sign me up for that right now. And again, it's not crazy. Just looking at what he's done in the past in his second season, which was Tyreek Hill's first season there. So Jaylen Waddle was the number 2 in that offense. He went for over 1,300 yards. I think it was like 1,365. Jaylen Waddle, I know Sean Payton doesn't want to admit this, but Jaylen Waddle is the Broncos' number 1 receiver right now. So with Bo Nix and the way he's trending, and with Davis Webb and what we think he can do as a play caller with Sean Payton, I agree. I would predict 1,300 yards, which would be the most probably by a Broncos since DT with Peyton in 2013? Or did he get there in 2014 or 2015?
I don't know. His stats are always mind-blowing when I look at them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, he did that again and again and again and again with that guy at quarterback. But I mean, those are super lofty predictions. There's 2 sides of me. The one side is like the shiny toy theory, which is like the Broncos have this new shiny toy, and they're just going to use it the same way the Dolphins did his rookie season. You know, they had the shiny new toy, and they're just like, give him the ball, give him the ball, give him the ball. And so that if that happens, I could see that those numbers coming true. I do worry about him being the number 1 focus of opposing defenses and how much that will change. Not necessarily him being open, but how much more open other people will be, because, you know, now Court is drawing a single coverage matchup because they're doubling Jaylen or whatever it may be. And I think in that case, the numbers won't be as high, but the impact might be even greater. I'm going to split the difference here and say like 1,150. I'll say 1,150, and I'll put up 10 touchdowns.
Okay.
10.
Yeah.
I like that. Henry, what do you think?
I had 75 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Okay, so
Which would be,
split down the middle. It's like the day that we all dressed alike.
right. It is very similar to that day.
The last Bronco was DT to have 1,300 yards, and this is going to blow your mind. He did it in 2015. Not even 2014, 2015, when the Broncos had more interceptions than touchdowns. in that season. He went for 105 catches for 1,304 yards, 6 touchdowns. Just absolutely insane. And Ryan, to your point about like me and Benny predicting 1,300 yards and how high of a bar that is, it's an incredibly high bar. Last year, there were only 5 wide receivers that did it. JSN went for 1,793. Puka went for 1,715. George Pickens went for 1,429. Jamar Chase went for 1,412. And Amon-Ra St. Brown went for 1,401. Then there was a drop-off. The next receiver was Zay Flowers at 1,200.
So nobody went for 1,300 yards.
Nobody went for 1,300
I'm
yards.
changing my prediction
Okay.
to 1,200 yards.
Oh, no, Benny, don't go.
I'm going to bring it down. I'm
Got
going to bring it
scared.
down. I'm going to bring it down 100 yards.
Okay, then there were two.
Because-
only one other receiver that was in that, and that was Zay.
Yeah, when you bring up those 4 names who had over 1,400 yards, sheesh,
Yeah,
elite.
yeah.
Jared Goff at the quarterback position, Sam Darnold at the quarterback position, Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position, and Joe Burrow at the quarterback position.
Yep.
And
And
I
Dak
think-
Prescott.
And Dak Prescott. So Bo Nix is trending his way towards being those types of quarterbacks, but those guys are already established. They read the defense. They just got a lot of experience right there, along with the playmaking ability of those guys. And then also you saying, what DT did. I mean, 105 catches for 1,300 yards. Yeah, the offense wasn't great that year, but that just shows how good and how dominant he was.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, Peyton only threw 9 touchdowns, whatever, but 1,300 yards, 105 catches, like, we were feeding him the rock.
Well, and to your point, 177 targets for DT that year. That is insane. And when you look at guys that led the league in targets last year, it's Jamar Chase at 185. It's St. Brown at 172. It's Trey McBride at 169. It's Puka at 166. JSN at 163. And so that might be like where I should actually start when doing predictions is how many targets is he going to get? Is he going to get 10 a game? Because 10 a game is what DT got. And then that's how, if he gets 10 targets a game, he's hitting 1,300 yards. But will he get those targets?
That's kind of where I was back and forth. Like, do the Broncos just force feed him because he's the fun new thing? Or do they have Bo like taking advantage of the matchups more than just saying like we got to get Jaylen the ball? And
You're the Sean Payton whisperer, though.
I know it, and that makes me think it's going to be the second part, which is they're not force feeding Jaylen. They're obviously going to get him the ball a lot, but I think Sean, in addition to loving what he brings as a receiver, also loves what he brings as a magnet. And that's why you see a lot of quote unquote no-name receivers have some big seasons in Sean Payton's offenses, because it's just like, if you have the
Willie
good matchups,
Snead.
you're getting it. Yeah.
Yeah, Willie Snead. Shout out to Willie Snead. We played against each other in the high school state championship, and now he's assistant receivers coach here.
Yep.
Willie Snead, great dude. But yeah, he had a season where he ate as an undrafted free agent in this offense. RK, you bring up a really good point, and you are the Sean Payton whisperer. But also, when I think about this offense, Michael Thomas was the focal point.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody knew he was getting the rock, and Sean moved him everywhere. Outside, inside, gave him all the option routes, which I think the Broncos, they haven't had an option route runner since Wes, in terms of that could actually run, the burger routes or the return routes or the basics all in the slot, and literally could do all of those things. And I think that's where Sean and Davis, I think they might force feed him, just because it's hard to double somebody who plays in the slot. It's easy to double somebody who plays on outside of the numbers, but if you have these condensed formations, which Jaylen Waddle will be a part of, and it's even why it was hard to double Tyreek Hill, is because they'll just condense the split. You can't double team right there. It's hard
He
to
has
do.
an all-way go.
Yeah.
So what makes an option route receiver, since the Broncos haven't had one since Wes?
The ability to get in and out of breaks, stop. The ability to stop and to have that hip swivel, that kind of wiggle that you have right there, that you will have. And that's what he has. He's shown that. If you watch any of his film, I mean, he's condensed split, outside the numbers, go route, stop route, corners. Like, he's got all the routes in the route tree. But if you think about a basic concept, which you have a drive, a 12-yard in, and then a shallow route. Jaylen Waddle's on the shallow. Okay, you can run that one time, and then you run drive return, which is the shallow, the in and out, or you can run Lucy in this offense, which is a slant or an out or just a pivot. Like he can do, and then the receiver has the option to do it.
But he also has to know what to do, right?
Yeah, which I think he does, though.
Yeah.
When you play at Alabama, when you play in a Mike McDaniel type of offense or West Coast offense, you understand the concepts, and he's got that ability. I think he'll help Bo out a lot. I think they're going to force feed him a lot. I could see him getting 150 targets.
And there's two guys that really Sean trusts when it comes to Waddle, and it's more so the mental makeup, because you can't fully see that on film. Sometimes you can, and it's Nick Saban and it's Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater played with him, so would have a really good idea if Jaylen knows what's going on the field. And then obviously Nick Saban coached him, and both of those guys emphatically signed off on Jaylen Waddle to Sean Payton, and Teddy loved Sean as well. Got him paid, helped him get paid a lot of money. So that's a big stamp of approval right there. I want to continue to talk about the force feed or not force feed, because Michael Thomas is a very interesting person to look at. In the 3 years he was elite, holy cow, were they force feeding him? Will the same be said about Jaylen Waddle? Let's have that conversation coming up next.
Shout out to our friends over at Gold Belly, because if you want to try any sort of food, they have it covered. The original buffalo wings from Anchor Bar in Buffalo, Guy Fieri's unbelievable trash can nachos. They've got real Philly cheesesteaks, or even the legendary Franklin's barbecue straight from Texas to your door. So if you're looking for pizza, a certain type of pizza, whatever it may be, they've got it covered, especially for special events, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary. So many awesome options over there, like the world famous macarons from Lottery. I've never said that word myself. I've heard other people say it.
You gotta say it with confidence.
I know,
Yeah,
that's
very yeah.
macaron. The Peter Luger Steakhouse. Or did it not work?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's because I'm more of like the pizza guy, so I keep bringing up the pizza. But hey, those pizzas from Chicago, I'm all about it. So whether you're trying to turn game day into an unforgettable experience with friends, you want to impress a loved one, go to goldbelly.com, get 20% off your first order with promo code DNVR. Goldbelly.com, code DNVR for 20% off your first order.
Have you guys heard of the new fad with Toyota now? So a lot of Toyota 4Runners have like the they're off-road so hard that they have like the what do you call
Ladder.
it? Ladder. Yes, thank you. That like
ladder.
goes to the top. Have you heard the cool new thing that people are doing now? They have those, and then next to it they have like a 2-inch one, and it's the cutest little thing. And that is what's going on with Toyota. I saw one this week in the mountains, and man, my neighbor got a new Toyota, and it is a 4Runner. It's white, and it is so freaking cool. That's the car. I think you got to go a 4Runner or Land Rover. Those are the ones that I would go with when I get my next car. And if you want to get your next car and you want to get a Toyota with a ladder on it, you can go and visit your local Front Range Toyota store location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. Welcome back to the DNVR Broncos Podcast. Absolutely loving this conversation that we're having. Looking at stats, looking at film, breaking it all down. And so will the Broncos force feed, maybe not force feed, but extremely highlight Jaylen Waddle. So in the 3 years that Michael Thomas was in his prime with Sean Payton, he caught an average of 126 passes. That's insane, including the record for catches in a year. What was that, 147?
Yep.
I think. He averaged 1,458 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, not going to hold him to those standards by any means, but that is Sean Payton saying, they know we're going to Michael Thomas, and we do not care. We're still going to do it.
He was also so big, though, that he couldn't actually be covered. You know,
Right.
like if he's covered, he's still open because he's so big. So there's a little bit of a difference there. But there's certainly evidence to say Sean Payton, if you are consistently open, he is going to just keep calling plays to get the rock to you.
And then also a difference there is Sean Payton was a veteran signal caller who had won a Super Bowl, who had been doing it for over a decade. Plus, he had Drew Brees, who was a future Hall of Famer, who very experienced at that point. It is a little bit different of a situation here with Bo Nix, where he's not so young because he's done a lot in the NFL in 2 years, but only his third year in the league and a first-year play caller. Do you think that combination of youth at quarterback and play caller makes it more likely to rely on Jaylen Waddle or less likely to rely on him in terms of like a force feed him way?
I think you don't want to rely. And as we're just kind of talking through certain things, and, RK brings up a really good point, the size of Michael Thomas being a 6'2", 6'3" guy, bigger frame, it's easier to see. It's easier to see him running routes, and he can kind of box people out. He wasn't necessarily the greatest route runner, but he'll box people out on a stop route or whatever it may be and make the catch. I think Jaylen Waddle is by far and away a better route runner. He will create more separation. The windows will be clearer for Bo. But also, I think when you look at 126 catches per year over those 3 years, you look at the 1,400 yards, a lot of that also has to do, actually most of that has to do with Drew and Sean being on the same page. Drew, most accurate quarterback of all time in terms of accuracy and completion percentage. So I think that is very different. Bo is still a very young player and still growing in this. I think Davis, being a young play caller, also plays into this factor as well. And I think one of the things that Bo does really well is it spreads the ball to everybody, which the defense, they can't just kind of key in on, hey, well, Courtland, we know he's going to get the ball. Courtland's had games where, okay, hey, Bo doesn't like what it's looking like over there. He will go find the other receiver. So I think you will have it spread around. The question is, can these receivers, all these receivers, make plays? And maybe I have to preface this, he won't have a Peyton Manning MVP type season, but that year you saw DT go for 1,600. You saw Decker have a great year. Julius Thomas, Wes Welker. Can the ball just be spread out like that?
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing about force feeding Michael Thomas is it's so many slants and underneath routes. Whereas with Waddle, you're not going to force feed a post route. You're not just going to post. Like, you have to use him underneath more to do that. I mean, when you're a smaller guy, just asking him to catch balls over the middle 5 yards downfield leads to a bunch of hits. And Michael Thomas can take those hits. Jaylen Waddle, do you want him taking those hits?
He's done it, though. I mean, 104 catches. Those were in his rookie year. Those weren't on post routes.
Oh, definitely. But again,
They averaged 8 yards per catch.
Totally. But is that something that you find sustainable or not? Is a question that they have to ask, because when you lean on a guy,
QB. If Bo can protect him with the throws, then I don't really expect him to take a lot of hits.
But you could also go back and say, maybe Miami looked at that and said, this isn't sustainable. This is not probably the way that we want to use our franchise receiver. Like, we have to, lower the workload so he doesn't get hurt.
Well, the reason the workload lowered is because they got Tyreek Hill.
Totally. But those two things could have gone in conjunction with each other. Like, we have to get someone who can do this stuff as well, so it doesn't all fall on Jaylen, so he doesn't end up getting hurt.
My guess is it was more so Tyreek was available, and they were like, yeah, let's pair these two guys together, like the two fastest receivers in the NFL.
I think Jaylen has the body frame and to absorb hits. And I think it's just going to come to Bo protecting him on throws. You see Amon-Ra St. Brown, little sturdy, stocky. Jaylen's not as big as him, but he can play in the middle like that. If he creates a separation, I think it's just more about being protected with the throw.
He is like a lot more sturdy looking than you would expect from a speed demon receiver.
Yeah. From when you look at he's 5'10" listed at, you would think just, he's a small receiver. Yeah. But he doesn't look like it or play like it as much. Now, he isn't the 6'3" DT, obviously. And so the box outs might be a little more difficult there. So when we talk
you don't have to box anyone out, though, if they're 3 yards away from you.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Just make it easy by that. Do we think that this is the first year that the Broncos have 2,000-yard receivers? The first year since DT and E, I believe in 2016, they did it with Trevor Siemian as well. Do you think this is the first year that we have 2,000-yard receivers, Benny?
I believe that. If the Broncos want to get back to AFC Championship, go to the Super Bowl, which I believe they can do, and they have a Super Bowl caliber roster, I think they will, and I think they can have two receivers that have 1,000 yards. I think Courtland doesn't need a huge volume of catches to get his yards. He can get 1,000 yards off 65, 70 catches. And I think him and Jaylen Waddle, that pairing right there. I mean, you take Troy Franklin's, what he had, 700 yards last year. Yeah. So those 700 go to Jaylen. And then you believe with the explosive playmaking ability, there's a couple of 150 yard games in there, which the Broncos didn't have. So That's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's a chance it could happen like pretty easily. And I think third place might be like right behind him. I think you could have like 3 very, at least over 750 receivers, which would be the first time that's happened in probably since 2013, if I had to guess. Maybe 14. I don't know. But
2014, I believe, because DT had 16, Emmanuel had 14, and then Wes had like 5 or 6.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I think that's a real chance. And again, a little bit of it comes down to like, is Davis Webb the boy genius that everyone has made him out to be? Because if he is, then things could get real scary out there. If not, then maybe there's a little adjustment period. We get off to some slow starts and it doesn't come together like that. But they go out there and hit the ground running, and he's just scheming it up, and defenses are having to adjust to what he's got going on. And now it's not just the Sean Payton offense that coaches have been seeing for 20 years with some tweaks here and there. Now there's all this new stuff they have to learn. It could get crazy.
Yeah, I think that's a piece of it. I look back to 2022 and 2023 for the Dolphins, because that's when Mike McDaniel was drawing up all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, people were calling him the great offensive mind in those first 2 years. And so can Davis Webb match that? And also, can Bo match Tua in those seasons?
How were those seasons?
For Jaylen?
Yeah.
So that was the big one with 1356, and then he got hurt a little bit. The next year wasn't quite as good. But per 17 games, he averaged 1,300 yards.
And then
1299
Tua was pretty good
in those two.
Yeah, Tua. Yeah, he got a big contract off that.
Tua led the NFL in passer rating, got MVP votes the first of those years, then led the NFL in passing yards in the second of those years. So like that was when we thought he was one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL, but then the past
I don't know
couple
if we
years happened.
did.
Well, I mean, but you go back and look at like the top 100 voting and all that sort of stuff, and at the time that was the discussion.
Well, and that's when Mike McDaniel was the boy genius.
Exactly.
And no one knew what he had going on. So everyone's adjusting to his, style of play calling.
Right.
I think
that's where I would say, like, if Davis Webb can be Mike McDaniel at his peak and Bo Nix can be that version of Tua, that's kind of the bar to get Jaylen on that 1,300-yard track.
I think it could happen. I mean, Davis has Sean Payton mentoring him and helping him for this, one of the best to ever do it. Mike didn't have that. He was a head coach at that time. And then
Kyle.
But not in the building though. Not day to day.
Yeah.
You do learn something.
You learn something from Kyle, and then we don't know who's actually helping Mike install the game plan on a Monday or Sunday night, Monday. I think there were some people definitely helping him. And I think being in the meeting room.
But not Sean Payton.
Who's a better play caller?
Who? Shanahan
or Sean Payton?
Give me Sean.
I don't know about that. They call it the Shanahan tree. I don't.
But
Mike
Shanahan's not helping him when he's with the Dolphins.
You might have been.
I don't think you know that.
Oh no way!
Come on, man.
You think so? Does that happen with other coaches helping other teams?
Come on, man.
Wow.
Especially since
Who do you think helping Clint Kubiak right now?
Gary.
And
Yeah,
and who? You think
Kyle, or not Kyle, but Mike,
Mike McDonald, the defensive guy?
No, Shanahan.
Oh, Shanahan.
the thing is, you got to understand that Mike Shanahan probably built a relationship with Mike McDaniel when he was coaching under his son. He's around a lot out there, and so he's rooting for his success as well. And sure,
Well,
he's
McDonald
got all of this knowledge and nothing to do with it right now.
Maybe Mike Shanahan is helping him. Sure, I can see that.
You bring up a really good point, and I think that is what Broncos fans should really be. That's the exciting part of what actually could happen, is that Davis and Bo and this offense hit the ground running, and nobody knows what's coming. We've been preparing for Sean Payton, but Davis is 3 steps ahead, similar to what happened with Ben Johnson when he was in Detroit, and then people don't know what to expect, and then you have the running factor of Bo. But what worries me is that they're not starting practice until June.
And let's get to that in just a second. But I want to hit on something you just said, because Benny, for I think the past 2 years, you've warned us that the Broncos offense is going to start slow every single year with the way Sean does it. And what's happened? The Broncos offense has started slow the past 2 years with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Do you think that Davis calling the plays will maybe change that and it won't start slow? Or do you think because it's still based in the Sean Payton offense, it will start slow?
I think it is going to start slow, and I think, and I don't think that's I just think that's because the lack of reps that they're getting ready to get. Sean said in his press conference last week that, I don't want the guys to feel like they were just here.
Yep.
Why? I don't understand that.
It's their job.
Yeah, it's their job, number one, and that the team that scored the most points in NFL history came back for OTAs on time.
And so what you're talking about, Benny, is something that Sean is doing very different this year. There are teams that are reporting for the offseason workout program today. It's April 6th today. The Broncos report the latest for offseason workouts in nearly a month. They report May 4th. The latest teams to report besides the Broncos, I believe, are the Seahawks and one other team. They report April 20th. And those are the second latest. The only other team is the Broncos at May 4th. So that first month, they're still just going to be doing workouts. They're not going to be doing any on-the-field stuff. It's just working out until June. Then they're going to have 2 weeks of OTAs instead of 3. The NFL will allow them to have 3. And then 1 mandatory minicamp. So what you're saying is Sean's cutting the offseason because the Broncos went 3 weeks deeper in playoffs.
I mean, I just don't kind of understand that. We won the Super Bowl and came back on time. But we were excited to get back into the building, excited to build camaraderie. And look, the team is going to be different. Yeah, you brought a lot of people back, but a lot of people, things are different. Dre Greenlaw is no longer here. Singleton, well, he's already been a play caller for a while, but Shrinaud, new role. And I think specifically just for the offense, what is the terminology? If Davis is now calling the plays and installing any things, what's the terminology? I think that is important. Formations are going to be called different. Our play is going to be called different. Sean has a lot of wording in his play calls. What if Davis is only calling plays with two to three words? That's very different. That means as a receiver, now you have to understand the entire concept of the play instead of being tagged on everything. When I was playing in the Peyton Manning offense, he would say Beta or Dallas or Shula, Miami, or whatever it may be, and you had to understand the concept. Sean, West Coast offense, they tag everything, formation. But what if Davis, because he has worked with Adam Gase or the offenses that he liked, wants to call it a certain way? So I'd like to see, not necessarily the guys on the field, but I'd like to see him in the classroom just to understand the nuances. And then because Jaylen is very new into this offense, he doesn't know. He doesn't know the plays.
That's a great point.
If I can play a little devil's advocate, maybe there's a sense of the team went so far and had this disappointing end of the season that maybe Sean felt like kind of took the wind out of their sails. And he's trying to avoid this feeling of getting back and being like, here we go. We have to climb this whole mountain all over again just to get back to where we just were. So maybe he's thinking the longer I wait, the more hungry the guys will be back when they get back, rather than damn, this feels like a whole new, I'm not necessarily ready to try and climb this mountain again. And I don't,
maybe the 2013 blowout Super Bowl loss to the Seahawks. My first day of OTAs when I came as a rookie, guys were pretty motivated and pissed.
In 2014, right after that?
We watched the first half. My first day of us OTAs, not my first day, but our rookie class, we watched the first half of the Seattle Broncos Super Bowl as a team or as an offense. Set the tone for the whole offseason.
Yeah, I mean, that's
wow.
powerful.
I mean, it's important context. Like to know what you're stepping into. It's like when people show up all pissed off, you're not like, oh, why is everybody so
Yeah.
It's kind of useful information to have.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And I'm just trying to come up with what I think Sean's reasoning might be.
Yep. I've got two thoughts. The first one is that some of this might just be injury prevention. They're so big on recovery and how they go about things, and it's generally worked well so far. I wonder if part of the thought process involves giving guys an extra 3 weeks we think will allow them to recover more. But then the second piece is this is kind of a typical Sean move, because even in the past couple of years, he's had like it's been very few on-field workouts. They delay those. They don't take advantage of every practice day. They spend a lot of time just working out instead of being in the classroom this time of year. And Sean says it's to make people excited to be here, to like take some of like the stress of the workload off. But I also think that could have led to the slow starts we've seen in the past couple of years. And so I don't think this is unique, and I wonder if that's one of the reasons why they've had the slow starts.
I agree with you on the injury part, and I'm all for that. I'm all for player health and safety. And yes, they play deep into the season. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be. I think they should be in the classroom a little bit more. So
you could do classroom stuff.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
You would think.
Or just some like walkthroughs. I think this is like this is where Bo takes the next step. Is like, all right, routes on air, or they find a place to go throw those things. I do trust Sean, but yeah, the starting slow offensively isn't just a Denver Bronco thing. It was in New Orleans as well. They would start some seasons pretty slow because of the personnels and all the different things that he likes to try to accomplish in the first month of the season. But yeah, when you add a guy like a Jaylen Waddle, when you have an RJ Harvey who didn't get as many reps at the beginning of the season, you hear some things that he's not picking up the playbook as fast. Why not just bring them in early and get through all of those kinks?
Well, like to your point that this was happening in New Orleans too, there was an offseason where Sean just canceled the entire offseason program and just didn't have guys.
So they just started a training camp?
Yep, exactly. And
wow.
So maybe we get, I don't remember. I think it was 2018, I don't remember the exact year that was. And
his training camps are hard though. That's why I think that's why he does it.
Well, that's how he operates as a coach. He grinds on the players and the coaches, and it's like, well, why do guys like him? And it's because he does do things like this where he gives them a little break. Like for the bye week, you can have guys in the building Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe even a half day Thursday. I'm not sure about Thursday. And Sean the last time he sees you is after the game on Sunday night. He gives you the entire week off because he says, I know that the first 12 weeks of the season, I've been grinding you. Now I'm going to give you a break right here. And so this kind of goes along with that. Like, hey, you grinded with me an extra 3 weeks for this season last year. Now you're going to get 3 weeks off right here. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that is Sean's logic to it.
I think guys like him because he's a winner. I think that if he didn't win, he wouldn't have as many friends.
I think that's how every coach is.
It's 100%.
But he's not like Bill Belichick, where guys only go to play for him because he wins, and then once he doesn't win, everything just goes to shit. With Russell Wilson, I know the season was 8-9, so it wasn't as bad as it was the year before, but that wasn't a winning season.
I would take the Belichick approach over the Sean Payton approach. It's clearly worked out.
Well, the Belichick approach has worked better than anyone else's
It only works for one guy.
Yeah, that's
Josh McDaniels tried that and failed miserably.
No, but I'm saying that, he can't. Other coaches can't repeat it, but it worked, and I think they returned for OTAs.
I'm sure they do.
For all the time.
Wait, say that again?
They returned on time for OTAs.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yep. This is the Sean Payton way, though.
The Saints canceled their offseason program during COVID.
Okay, but so other teams had it.
They did, yeah. He said, like, no virtual meetings, no online meetings, no workouts at the facility, even if it's allowed.
Yeah.
So, I think
no virtual meetings. That's not true.
In 2020.
I was a part of the virtual meeting.
Right, yeah. Well, there you go.
I mean, it was individually. I mean, not necessarily as a receiver group, but like myself and Emmanuel, like we met with the receiver coach. We needed to learn the offense.
Wait, did you say in 2020 or 2021?
2020.
2020. Okay, yeah, that first COVID year.
Yeah,
that's interesting. And Sean's doing it this way. I do wonder though if, well, Benny, how much do OTAs carry over into week 1 and week 2 of the season? Because those are practices, and I'm not trying to be, I'm truly asking, but those are practices that happen 3 months before week 1 and week 2 with so many training camp practices in between. You think those do impact it?
I think they do impact it because, look, this is the kind of the way I see it. If you do a full OTAs, you can install the offense at least 2 times. So if you come in on time, you can do install 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go into the on-field workouts. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And then you could do it again during the mini camp. So you have gone through the at least install 1 through 3, 3 times before you get to training camp. Those are your staple plays. Those are the plays that you're going to be running day in, day out from week 1 all the way to week 17, week 18. That's your drag and line. That's your double slants. That's you can install those 3 to 4 times. So that's why I think it's very important. And then you can just go through. This is back when I was playing with Peyton, but you can go through all of the little hots in the checks, and you can see through those things, and you can kind of talk through them just as players.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And this is where Bo is getting ready to enter into. Is like, okay, it's about to be my 3rd year in the league. Okay, we got some terminology that's new, some that's different, but like, hey, Court, this is what I'm thinking. Or like, you can start, they're about to start giving him a little bit even more of a leash of like, oh, I can change things here, or this is what I want. Or Jaylen, this is how I like this route ran. Now that I've seen these guys, and you could just see, you want to see Jaylen run routes, you want to see what Troy got better at, what Marvin got better at, what Court got better at. You want to see these guys run routes. And if you're not on the field as much, like you only got so many different, so many opportunities to see that. So that's kind of how I think about it. Like, I loved OTAs because you could try some different things that you thought about all off season. And now it's an opportunity to go out there and be on the field.
Well, and Benny, to your point, the Peyton Manning approach was almost 100% different than the Sean Payton approach, because Peyton, you had to be there. OTAs are technically voluntary until mandatory minicamp. Yep. You would know better than I, but if you're a receiver or an offensive guy and you want to play on the field, you're at OTAs. You're not missing anything. And then
we had 98% people come or participation rate.
Who didn't?
It would just be people like missing here and there, where they would miss a practice. But ask a key on the next No Lies on how important OTAs was.
Yeah.
He was a vocal part of like just being there and being around guys for 4 hours a day. Like, let's talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Let's hang out.
And Peyton was to the extent where, like, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday practices, typically the backup quarterback might get a couple of reps here and there, and Peyton said, no, I'm getting all these reps because every single rep is important. And it's fascinating how there are different ways to do it, and we'll see if this approach works. But Benny, to your point, it is very different what Sean Payton is doing. I believe April 20th is that date that the Seahawks report, which is the second latest. Broncos are May 4th for that final one there. So
I argue against it, but at the same time, Sean's got how many seasons of 13 wins and Super Bowl appearance and
time.
So at the end of the day, I'm going to put my trust in him and how he goes about things. But as a player, I'd want to be in there, especially a new player with a new play caller.
That's fair. I think a lot of players are pretty happy not having to be in there for an extra month.
And it's easy to say, like, oh, they get off to slow starts, they need to change something. But also, after those slow starts, things tend to work out pretty well for them. Yeah. Like even that COVID year where they canceled or almost canceled the offseason program, like they start 1-2 and they're 11-2 the rest of the season.
Yeah, we rolled.
Like sometimes the slow start, you build off of that.
Real quick before we get into Super Chats, I want to remind everyone to go watch our Friday show from last week. Dropped on opening day on a Friday, so maybe not as many people saw it. It's evergreen, so you can watch it anytime, but we had a hell of a lot of fun doing Broncos Jeopardy. So I highly recommend that if you're looking for some content.
And I also want to remind people to come to our draft party. The Broncos don't have a first-round pick, but we are still doing an awesome draft party on the first night of the draft, which is coming up, guys. 2 weeks from this Thursday, we're going to be at the Hangar Club, and it is going to be an awesome, awesome time. So many fun things set up for you guys. So make sure to get tickets. Go to thednvr.com/events. You can scan the QR code, or you can go to the link below as well. And speaking of those Super Chats, let's jump in to the Super Chats and hit us with the thumbs up before we do. We really appreciate it. We Do Things 365 says, hey guys, don't usually catch the show live because I work the grave shifts and listen while at work. Thanks for getting me through the long nights. Well, thanks for spending your long nights with us. We do things. That's really cool.
Yes, sir.
And Pure Lapine says, I think we have 5 tight ends or wide receivers with 1,000 receiving yards and 10 plus touchdowns, as well as 1 running back with at least 1,000 rushing yards. And against the Finns, Bo gets 8 touchdowns.
Well, we will start the GOAT conversation for Bo if that happens.
This would also be the greatest. This would be the greatest offense of all time. It would surpass the 2013 Broncos offense because I believe the record for number of 1,000-yard receivers in a season is 3, and that was with I believe it was Brandon Stokely, Marvin Harrison, and Reggie Wayne with Peyton Manning with the Colts in 2015. And I'll get to this in 2013. I'll get to this in a second. We'll hit it in overtime. Go to thednvr.com to continue the conversation in overtime. The Broncos had 2,000-yard receivers, which is kind of hard to believe. DT had 1,430. Eric Decker had 1,288. But here's the kicker. Julius Thomas had 788 yards, and Wes Welker had 778 yards. And then to add on top of that, Noshawn had 548 receiving yards, which is just insane stats. And the Noshawn also had 1,000 on the ground, too, with 10 rushing touchdowns to go along with, of course, Peyton's 55 passing touchdowns. Just wild. One other stat that blew me away. In 2014, that following season, Ian DT combined for 3,000 receiving yards.
Ridiculous.
He had 1,400 and DT had 1,600 between two guys. Just crazy.
Going into film every day was incredible to watch. It was like, oh my God.
Man, this show was incredible. I absolutely loved it. Shout out to Benny, RK, Henry, Dion for the DNVR Broncos podcast. We will see you tomorrow on another fun show.
God bless Bo Nix.
We all silly like the mayor.